What's up, everybody? It's Scott, your hope dealing host with the most. I'm here with a new program that I'm going to start doing with you, and it's going to be showcasing testimonies from other people, other people that are in recovery, and share their stories with us. I've been coming across some really good ones here lately on the internet, and so I wanted to start doing this. This first one that you're going to see here, his name is Ricky. It's a pretty compelling story. So I want you to just sit back and enjoy it, try and get the message out of it, and understand that there is hope after dope.
I was just sitting there and this was happening and they had this big screen TV with all these different cameras on it of outside, and everybody's just on the edge of their seat waiting for the cops to come because everybody's paranoid. And all right, so my name is Ricky P. I have just a little under a year of sobriety. My drug of choice was fentanyl, and a little bit about my childhood is I was loved dearly by my mom and dad and by my sister. Um, we moved around a lot. When I was a kid, we moved about 4 or 5 times in between the ages 2 through 12. My parents made sure that I had every single thing that I ever wanted, everything that I ever needed as well. We took family vacation trips and just a lot of snowboarding and skiing trips with my dad. My sister was super involved with me until I was about 6 or 7. She kind of just stopped liking me as a person, I guess. Not really sure why, but our relationship, we kind of just kept growing further and further apart, and she just kind of made me feel like I wasn't her brother. But other than that, my childhood was great, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. My most recent drug of choice was fentanyl, but I've also had a problem with meth. I've had a problem with cocaine. I've had a problem with crack. I've had a problem with psychedelics. Um, I had a problem with alcohol. And I've also had a problem with Xanax. What I really enjoyed about fentanyl was that it made me so high that I literally didn't have to think about anything or really do anything. It just it made me really feel really good on the inside, and I don't know. I guess it was just that, I don't know, almost dying feeling, which is pretty awful to say, but right on the edge of almost dying was one of the best feelings ever. Um, Definitely what I liked about meth was that it always gave me the energy that I thought that I needed, or I thought that it gave me the energy. I would always, I don't know, I would stay up for days doing meth and, think that I'm getting all sorts of stuff done, but I don't think that I actually did. Same with crack. I thought that was one of the best highs ever, but it only lasted maybe 5 minutes, so I would just constantly have to be doing crack, and that's not good. And I thought that that gave me energy too, but it actually just made me really paranoid about every single thing that happened. Um, Xanax, I like that it made me super relaxed, but it also erased my memory for anything that ever happened on it. So I just really liked being high and not having to deal with whatever was going on in my head. I think the first drug that I ever tried was marijuana when I was 15. I actually was part of a youth group at church, and I started hanging out with the older kids, and they were 17 and 18, and they had cars, and they did whatever they wanted to. They weren't controlled by their parents much anymore. But I met a group of kids there, and they took me to their apartment and we just smoked some weed while sitting around the hot tub. And, I thought it was ironic because I met these people at church, but I don't think anything too crazy happened. I just smoked the weed and I felt really high and like everything was funny and everybody was having a good time. And then I just went home and then I didn't smoke again for like a couple months, but nothing too crazy. I was living in a room for rent in Costa Mesa, and I was going to treatment at the most recent place that I went through treatment at, and I was working as a dishwasher at a really fancy restaurant in Newport, and I felt like it was a good job position, because it was a fancy restaurant, but I also really hated dishwashing. And the last time I had dishwashed was at an Italian restaurant, and I was doing fentanyl all day, every day, even at my job, and it just made everything so much better. And so every day working at this place in Newport, I would have the thought like, oh my gosh, fentanyl would make this so much better. This sucks so bad. Like, the dishes are just never ending. And so I had been thinking about getting some fentanyl for a couple weeks, but I just couldn't get myself to actually go get it because I had a head full of AA and I just couldn't get myself to do it. But I did know that if I drank some alcohol first, that I would probably get the balls to go get some fentanyl. So I bought a 6-pack and started drinking, and then by the 4th beer, I felt confident enough to hit up my dealer, and I did. And I hit him up, and I went and got some fentanyl, and then I was smoking it. And I knew I couldn't smoke as much as I was doing before because I hadn't done any in probably like 7 months or so. And so I was doing it all night, and I came back to my house and I was doing it there, and I was also smoking some meth, but I was still a member of the treatment center that I was at, and I decided not to go to outpatient group the next day because I was high, so I'm not going to go, and that would just be purposely putting myself back into detox when I wasn't ready. So I was sitting there smoking it, and my therapist had hit me up, called me on the phone and asked me where I was at, and the director of the treatment center called me and asked me where I was at, and I told him that I was high at my house and that I wasn't coming in. And they had told me that I needed to go to their facility so they could help me, and that I needed to stop, and I didn't want to. I had just started, so I'm not trying to stop right away. And so I was texting my therapist back and forth. Our relationship, she really cares about me, I really care about her, so she talked me into wanting to go back to detox. And so I was texting her back and forth, and I was also texting the director back and forth, and I was at my house trying to decide if I wanted to go or not, and I was trying to make a hide-a-bag to take into the detox with fentanyl in it so I didn't actually have to stop. And I was touching it and trying to put little pieces into these bags. I don't know what I was thinking, but I had fell out in between talking to them and making this little bag thing. I overdosed, fell on my floor, and I wasn't breathing. My therapist and the director, I stopped responding to them. So these 2 people showed up to my house from the treatment center, and they were knocking on the front door, and I rented a room. I was in somebody else's house, and the lady answered the door, and they were like, where's Ricky? And she was like, well, I don't know, he's in his room, he just rents a room out here, so I don't know. But they came in, and I was on the floor dead, not breathing, I don't know what exactly, but they had some Narcan on them. I'm not sure if they gave it to me or what, but they called 911, and the paramedics came, and then the paramedics had to hit me with Narcan 3 or 4 times before I came to. And then I came to and I was like, whoa, man, like I just overdosed. That's so embarrassing. And like these paramedics are probably super angry that another overdose, you know. I just felt really bad and like shameful and just awful about the whole situation. But I think what the crazy part was that um, God was looking over me in that moment because I didn't tell them to come to my house. They just came on their own at the right time. Like, if they would have waited any longer, I would have died and I wouldn't be here right now talking to you. And I just think that even in the depths of our addiction, there's something out there watching out for us. And, you know, there's definitely a reason why I didn't die that day. But I just thought it was crazy, all the pieces that played into that story and how it all went down, and like that I am still alive today. You know, I think there's a lot of different points that I realized I needed to stop using, but I think the first time that I ever had that thought was I was hanging out with I don't know, these Hispanic people. They claimed to be like part of a cartel or something. I don't know if they actually were, but they were. They had all these different like houses that they had drugs at and like their people at, and one of the houses they like cooked their meth at, and we went there. We were hanging out there. I don't know what exactly we were doing there, but hanging out at this house, and they were cooking the meth, and they had these babies there, or they didn't have babies, they had these kids there, and there was this baby there. And these crazy people like to, I guess, set intentions on their different batches of meth for whatever crazy psychotic reason. But they had brought the baby over to the where they were cooking it, and they like took a knife and like cut the baby's arm and then let the blood drip into the batch. And like, I don't know like what kind of weird psychotic thing was going on with like why that was a good idea, but I was just sitting there and like this was happening, and like they had this big screen TV with like all these different cameras on it of outside, and everybody's just on the edge of their seat like waiting for the cops to come because everybody's paranoid. And I was just like, man, this has become a problem. Like, I don't know what's going on with this baby. All these people are paranoid. I'm paranoid now. Like, I could get killed here. I don't even know. So I feel like that was probably the first, like, one of the times it was like, wow, I need to stop because I don't want this life. The treatment that helped me recover was going into a treatment facility. The first time I ever went to treatment out in California, I think was probably my best experience because I didn't know anything about treatment out here at that point. So I was willing and open to do like whatever it took. And I stayed at this treatment center for 8 months. And I really just dove into the program of AA. And I also dove into like going to church and being super into the Bible. I think the program of AA really saved my life this time. Treatment was good to like take me out of the current situation that I was in, but I wouldn't say that it had like a huge impact on me staying sober this time. I think what I'm most proud of myself for is within this last year of doing my program, getting sober, and really getting plugged in with the sober community in Orange County and with the church that I work at. By doing all those things and staying accountable to all my commitments that I've made, the fact that my dad came and visited me about 2 months ago, he came and visited me, and I got to make an amends to him. And through the amends process, it was good to like get everything out on the table and like hear like his side of what his experience was. But I think him saying that he was super proud of me and super stoked for me and like willing to help me in any way possible, I think that would be my most proudest moment because of all the things that I did for myself and, you know, rebuilt my life back to a good state, and having my dad say he's proud of me and like he checks up on me now and like we talk regularly, I think that would be like my most proudest moment. You know, if you put the work in to getting sober and rebuilding your life back and putting yourself out there and just really giving yourself a chance, the life that you can build for yourself is going to be way better than that fentanyl high or that cocaine high or anything that you think is like so great now, like using. There is a better life out there. And I think what saved my life this time is that I really dove into the program of AA and I really kept searching for my higher power. So I would say to just really try to find a higher power and put a lot of work into getting connected with that higher power.
Well, what'd you think? Rick's story was pretty cool, wasn't it? Yeah. I found some things in there that I related to, and I'm sure most of you did too. That's one of the reasons why I'm starting this program up, this, not program, but series. I'm going to start sharing with you testimonies and stories of other people that are in recovery, suffering from addiction. And I'm going to share these stories with you at least once a week, but I'm going to try and do it more often. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. Is this something that you'll enjoy? Is there a way that I can improve? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe if you think that I've earned it. But until then, I'm going to go ahead and say good night. And I want you to know that you don't ever have to live like that again. You can make a choice today to get help. And there will be help for you in the description below. Just look, and there will be a phone number there that you can call. I'll even leave information to get a hold of me if you want to talk. But I just want you to know that I love everybody and that I'm here for you no matter what. I want you to understand that this isn't a death sentence. This isn't something that you're stuck with for the rest of your life. There is a choice, and there is hope after dope. I love you. God bless, and take care.